permission to access the camera.
Okay. She'll figure it out.
Yeah, baby, we won't do that.
Word.
Okay, let's see. It says you need to change the video resolution to 1024.
You did that already.
No, which is not supported for this configuration. Let's go back and change it.
Okay.
The expected video is 1280. Okay, I gotta stop it again. Okay. Stream is continued. The stream is continuing. Live. Why can't we see each other? Okay. We should be able to see it. There we go.
Okay.
Peace, y'all.
Peace, peace.
Is this, let me see if it's public. Yeah, it's public. 3 watching. Peace, y'all. Can you hear us? Can you see us? I can't hear it. We're just gonna give a minute or two. Matter of fact, how can we play that? Can you play that? I want to see the chat in here too. You have a dashboard on yours. I don't see none of that. You click go live on yours? I wonder if that's going to add another live like we did yesterday. Use optimize encoder settings and do not show this message when going live.
Might. You want to try it?
Well, you added all that stuff to yours already. You just did? Okay, now it's loading. 4 watching. But our crew.
It's not letting us do it anywhere.
It ain't? Okay. Peace, y'all. Let us know if you can hear us. Peace. Sound check. And audio check. Usually our people be like, peace, peace. Where y'all at? Say we got 5 people in here so far. Microphone check. We just want to say thank y'all so much to our 9 Patreons. We've been watching Nick Naman showing us how to do this software. Brother Joel, shout out to Brother Joel. I'm gonna close this so we don't get no phone calls. It looks like it's still loading. I don't know why it's loading like that. It said our Okay, there you go. Peace, y'all. I don't know if y'all can hear us or not. This ain't even showing up on there good. Can you play that music back?
Yeah, I tell you, yeah. I mean, I can play it on my computer. Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, the phone went dead. I think it's already on here. Your video output is currently active. Please turn off any outputs to change video settings. It looks different on Mac because I don't even see the dashboard.
Peace to the God. You already know, man. Yo. For healing and wizardry, you fraud them seeds, be killing me. The enemy is close, we both rise on our identity. I feel like he who stepped, architect like Imhotep. Son had the son himself, the God death. With the art, I spit darts with a slit heart. You can feel it in your bone marrow before the shit starts. Standing in the cold with a scroll that was written in gold. Behold the old glimpse that was never untold. Infinite like the 8-7 dwelling in your belly. No felon, though the unrighteous say that I'm rebellious. I'm prime on my rhymes suicidal. I worship no idol. My style is all the gems going down in a spiral. You stuck in your book. My intelligence past my cool. The God is the truth. Every time I step in the booth, you stepped on the stoop. Got scooped and swooped in my loop. Due to knowledge, whack them seeds get played like blue.
In which the son of us are, a gift from the gods who move, flying through the sky with golden wings, submerged into the light, knighted by the golden king, with the scepter of
Justice, melanin,
cultivate cheese till we are
Ethereans,
finally becoming
one
with
with the righteous sun, solar, souls of Ra, magnificent glow,
with unconditional love, scattered rays
the gaze from the heavens above,
soul below, the soul,
trapped in the lowest depths of hell,
incarnated
in 76 trillion cells to break free.
must be refined, masculine and feminine properties combined.
The devil's off the confusion, 186,000 West Coast schisms and isms. Isn't it in your Bible that you spoke in parables?
The scriptures and gospels are just historical. Many passages
When even take the literal,
most of this allegorical based on esoterical principles. Baptist versus Methodist, Pentecostal holiness versus Jehovah's Witness, Mormons versus Seventh-day Adventists, skeptics, atheists, and agnostics, divine and cosmic tactics of the reptilians, law of fourth-dimensional aliens. So beware of the draconian Satanists. Though their aim is to imprison all true beings through ignorance, though we crush the head of Leviathan. Battle mind control, subliminal suggestions, brainwashing indoctrinations, using religion, politics, education, economics, social labor, entertainment, and war. No sex and war. In this chessboard game, going through open pawns. Puppets on strings controlled by demonic spawns. You can't run with the devil
and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. Yeah, you can't run with the devil and walk with God. You gotta choose a side, niggas. You gotta choose a side, my niggas. You
to choose a side. You know what I mean? All right. We want to know if y'all can hear us or not. If not, we're going to have to go to another joint, which is going to be clear on this, so we might just have to try it.
Yeah, we can hear. Yeah, they can hear.
Oh, word. Okay, you can hear me. Word. That's what I'm talking
yo.
about. Finally. We are on the air. All right. So tonight's topic is going to be on land. Yeah, we was going to try to do the rest of the melanin science last night. From last night. However, those slides, whatever reason, I don't have them on the computer. So what we're going to do is get in what we can get in tonight.
Because you left your computer at mom's.
Well, yeah. Well, left the other computer, yeah, at my wife, mom, and dad, my in-laws. But we back at our house right now. So, you see the library of books, most definitely. You see the plaques, you see all the good stuff there, the whole little library, and we got tables with books on it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. We got to get up though, for they can see us. All right, there we go. All right, so you see the books, the library. We got hundreds and thousands of books. All right, so this is how I gather my information and my knowledge over the years, over the last 30 some odd years, is by collecting books, then working on my meditations and different other techniques, in order to collaborate spiritually what I've read physically. All right, so that's how you do that. All right, so we're going to try to get this slide presentation up. All right. If not, what we're going to do is share the screen. You're going to look at it from this computer over to this computer. All right. So that's what we're going to try to do then. All right. For y'all can get the information one way or another. We're going to get this. All right. So we appreciate everybody that's coming on. Thank y'all for checking us out once again. As we say, this is as above, so below, as within, so without network. This is what we do. This is the channel that you at. All right, yeah, it's called More Heritage. However, this is as above, so below, as within, so without network channel. This is the channel that you got to come on in and be live in. So we want to make sure that you have subscribed. We want to make sure that you have clicked, you have liked, you have comment, and if need to be, super chat. All right, so we appreciate those super chatters from last night and over the last week or so. We've been getting a lot of calls from the Sonetta joint, and that's been pretty good. I was Sonetta's top seller as far as videos for 10 years. So, it was only right that I get on there because in New York, those videotapes went all over the world, and I was able to have lectures in Germany, in London, England, as well as also in the Caribbeans, in the Bahamas, in Canada. We did one in Mexico, even lectured in Italy. So, this is giving us worldwide access, not just here within the said states, and I've lectured all over the country, from California to Florida to New York to Connecticut to across the country. All right, so for those that want to book us for lectures, for we're also natural health consultants, so consultations, you can set those appointments up by calling 910-364-9099. You can also Hit us up at www.dralim.el-Bey.com, as well as also for those that want to, you can actually email us at royalhouse, all right, 777 at gmail.com, all right, or Dr. Alim El-Bey at gmail.com. So hit us up, tell us what you need, and we try to definitely help you in the best ways that we can. All right, so tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about the science of land, but it's going to be more so from the aspect of the Washita. And we still new to this, so we still getting this information together as far as being able to upload onto the OBS, which is what we're using now. We're no longer using Google Hangout. In that regard, we're going through OBS directly into YouTube. The reason why is because Google Hangout had a tendency of blotting out things if you go and watch the videos. It was done purposely, we believe, because other people's videos sound clear. And so, you know, why don't ours sound clear? So we wanted to make sure that ours are also clear. All right, so we're trying to get new equipment and new things so that you can get the best and clearest, you know, videos as possible. You know, we know that we did some messed up jobs here for the last couple of days or so, as that is concerned. But we wanted to still get this information to you, you know, because we know that it's important to us, you know, and it definitely should be important to you, you know, based on what we do. All right, so we want to talk about the Washita. All right, as I told y'all before, for those that's been watching the channel, the word Washita comes from the word Washitet or Washita, which basically is an ancient Egyptian Kemetic Temerian word in which that some refer to it as Greenland, but really it is talking about the serpent snake inside of each and every one of us, which is known as Kundalini or Umbelini, as the South Africans refer to it as, Krita Mutwa and the Amazulu people call it Umbelini. All right, that is the more ancient word for this energy. And then, of course, within the Hindu Kushite, or what is known as Dravidians, Pre-Dravidians, Tamil people, they call it Kundalini. So it was known originally as Umbelini, as Krita Mutwa speaks of it as. And this is the serpentine fire that Earth, Wind, and Fire spoke of. And basically it means that Washita was the serpent-headed goddess of Butu, you know, which is or was a town in Kemet, all right, as we refer to it nowadays, you know, ancient Egypt, Temeri or Temeray. And what happens is that we're looking at a word. Thank you. No.
What?
That one. Yep.
This one?
The history. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. All right. So what we're looking at is really something that shows that for those who have mastered the science of Kundalini, you have the ability in order to be called Washita. All right. So this is actually a spiritual position, not just someone walking around who think they have done some paperwork and now call themselves Washita. No, the paperwork is very secondary. The primary reason why you refer to yourself as Washita is because of the path that you have chosen for yourself to become enlightened. All right? To work on yourself, to raise Kundalini to the third eye and illuminate the third eye so that Beam Me Up Scotty can take place, which is activation of the Eye of Heru, which hovers over top of the third eye, which is the pineal gland, and is connected to the pituitary gland, as well as also to the hypothalamus gland. And being that it hovers over top of the pineal gland in the third ventricle, it looks just like a ship turned sideways. That is your Nibiru or Nebiru. And the word Nebhiru is, once again, an ancient Egyptian word or Kemetic Sumerian, or what is known as hieroglyphics, in which that demonstrates that the word Neb means golden, and the word Heru means light. So it means golden light. So upon the Kundalini striking the pineal gland and illuminating it and beaming up, Scotty, to the galaxy-like cloud that hovers over top of it, you receive the golden light or disc around your head. That is the real reason and how you become called a Washita, all right? Meaning from the ancient Egyptian, Kemetic, Sumerian, as we spoke of, that is the real science, all right? The Kundalini in ancient Egypt is Auset. That is Auset, all right? Now, Auset had to go through 7 caves in order to find the various pieces of Osar in order to put his body back together again. All right? That's what had to happen. All right? And upon going through these caverns or caves, which is symbolic to the 7 chakras or shinkaras, or as the ancient Egyptians referred to them as their suit. All right? Also referred to as Aritus, they became the place in which that helped with, once again, putting the pieces of Osar, which is Osiris, back together. Now, Osar is what we refer to as located within the pineal gland. That is the soul. That is the soul embedded inside of the pineal gland. All right. So we're looking at Auset, which symbolizes the Kundalini. All right. And then she must raise her son, which actually is talking about the seed, which is called the Christos. All right. Or Chrism. All right. Which is released from the brain. All right. And the vagus nerve takes it down, all the way down into the pit of the stomach. And the Kundalini must resurrect that seed back into the heavens so that that seed, which is symbolic to Christ, Chrism, can sit on the right-hand side of his father, which is talking about the activation of the soul principle. This is the part which is missing within Satanism, or as people would want to refer to it as. All right, we already told you through various videos that Satan is nothing more than Saturn, the planet. All right, Venus is Lucifer. All right, the planet. These are planets. Right, Jesus is the sun. All right, hence the reason why he's called the Son of God. But all of these are nothing more than, just like with Saturn, all right, which symbolizes base lead, which symbolizes the base or the root chakra, all right, where the color is red. And you must resurrect that energy, which is wrapped 3.5 times coil at the base of the spine, which is symbolic also to Auset. Auset resurrects, and she travels up, and she kisses, just like the Sleeping Beauty story and the Princess and the Frog. She kisses, all right, the frog, and it turns into a prince. All right, that's what happens. The Kundalini kisses the frog, which is symbolic to the pineal gland, which is in the reptilian portion of the brain. That's the frog, a reptile, and awakens Osar, who becomes that prince. And they both marry, merge, consummate that marriage, or what's called the divine marriage in heaven, to produce Heru, which is called Christ consciousness, because now that seed has been taken back up, and now the Kundalini is able to blast forth, as we said, up into that galaxy-like cloud that hovers over top of the pineal gland. All right, so now Osar is awakened, and upon his awakening, he transformed into Heru. All right, So this is the science. All right. Now you can get the book of the Dead, all right, by E.A. Wallace Budge, and he speaks about this information. All right, he speaks about this. You can get the Osirian resurrection myth. The Osirian resurrection myth. Right? And basically what it says is that the word Washita is derived from, well, this is what we're saying, is derived from the Tamarian word Usheta or Washita. And from immemorable, it says the symbol of the winged sun disk. This is what is called Ursheta or Urwasheta, right? Or Urwashet is the winged sun disk. This is the top part of the caduceus, all right? The top part of the caduceus, all right? I don't have it right now, but we know what the symbols look like, all right? We know what it looks like. There it is right there, all right? That's it right there on our Healing Wings Institute logo, all right? That's the sun disk, all right? The winged sun disk. That is Washita or Usheta, all right? So that is what you have to realize, right? That is the winged sun disk, and that basically being used to signify freedom and expansion, the mind, the soul, which you refer to as Ra or Atan. And in the Osirian mythology, Heru defeats Set, which is symbolic to the lower self. Being defeated is Set. The higher self is Heru. To become, so Heru becomes Urwasheta or Urwashet, the winged sun disk, which symbolizes the all-encompassing divinity. All right? So, thus it is decreed by Jehuti, known as Tahuti or Thoth, which symbolizes wisdom, that the Urwashet should be seen decorated on every temple, all right, as to be protected from evil. To be protected from evil. All right, if you get Muata Ashby's book, Egyptian Tantric Yoga Guide to Love, Sex, Marriage, Relationship, and Sexual Enlightenment, he goes on to state that Urwasheta is the epitome of the ancient Egyptian Tantra mystical philosophy. So, in order to be Washita or Ursheta, you must study and master the science of Tantra Kriya Yoga, Tantric Yoga. My wife and I, our teacher was Grandmaster Sunyata Saraswati, and he was our teacher for 9 years, all right, in these sciences. Now, he goes on, that is the supreme, all right? It has the supreme exposition of the understanding of all-encompassing, all-pervasive, absolute existence. Therefore, the wings are used by both gods and goddesses, the Neterus, in ancient Egypt or Egyptian mythology, because the supreme divinity encompasses both male and female. All opposites, or as we say, complementaries, and all existence, the state of androgyny. Thus, in order to overcome evil, the concept of opposites, which is duality, which is only within the mind, it is necessary to discuss that the all-encompassing vision of creation. So within this understanding, there cannot be evil since there is no duality or opposites. See, this is why when we was talking this information on Saneta's platform last week, a lot of these knuckleheads couldn't get their information. Is because their whole thought process is linear. Their thought process is not, all right? Their thought process is not holistic. And because of that, they had issues, with trying to put this information together because their comprehension skills are lacking. All right. And that is what basically happens when you present this type of information. This is why Bobby is still misunderstood to this day, but yet he dropped some of the most profound information on the goddamn planet. All right. But don't worry. You got Brother Panic, Baba Phil still out here, Brother Azariah,
Brother A.A. Rashid, myself, we still dropping profound information. All right? So we ain't going to have you lacking. You know, we're going to take up the slack.
Joel Benjamin.
All right? Brother Joel Benjamin, 528. We got to give it to the guy right there. No doubt. So now get another book. It's called The Memories Sir Quellis Papyrus. All right? This is a book written by Maspero. All right? Maspero. And he states that the goddess Washit or Washet, which he also says coming up from the underworld, in other words, from the root or base chakra, all right, would change their faces into things of beauty with brilliant eyes of light. Remember, Jesus said, when your eye be single, your whole body will be filled with light. That's in Matthew 6:22. So it says, I fly up. Now she's speaking. All right, Washet is now speaking. She said, I fly up and perch myself upon the forehead of Ra. All right, upon the forehead of Ra. Ra symbolizes, of course, the place or the dwelling place of the third eye, the forehead, the brow chakra, all right, or pituitary gland and the pineal gland, in the bowls of his boat, which is in heaven. I am the spiritual body of the sustainer of my yacht, which of course is truth, which is made by the goddess Washet. All right, so this talking about the Kundalini and Serpentine fire raising up from the root or base chakra to rest at the anja or the brow or third eye chakra. All right, and basically, her masculine consort is Uraeus. So Uraeus is the masculine consort of Washet or Washeta, where you get the word Washita from. All right, so in ancient times, Uraeus was known as the god in cahoots, all right, with the goddess Washet, whose also other name is Arset, Mary, which Arset name is Mary, which becomes the M-E-R-I to become in the Bible M-A-R-Y. The mother of Jesus. Arset is the mother of Heru. And Heru is called Shu Heru. All right? Shu Heru or Shu Heru. All right? It also called Arat, which is the cobra. All right? And different other names. This is all talking about when the Kundalini hits and strikes the third eye region. So we know that the Africans believe that the unlimited power of individual godhood occurred when one who eyes or who sees God. Now, this is right from your Bible, all right? It says basically that Old Testament, Genesis 32:30 says, and Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, as in pineal. For I have seen God face to face, and my life has been preserved. All right, so the name Heru is translated to mean face. Coincidence? I don't think so. All right, so when the serpent rises to the sixth stage to form, the form of God is seen, which is talking about to the third eye, the sixth chakra. But a slight veil remains. It is as if one sees a light within the lantern and think that the light itself can be touched, but the glass intervenes. This is according to the new Encyclopedia Britannica. This is in your damn encyclopedias. Now you go to Luke 11:34, it says the light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when the eye is single, just like Cyclops, which symbolizes a Nephilim, or which we call mental giant, not just a regular giant, but a mental giant, the whole body is filled with light. But when the eye is evil, that whole body is filled with darkness. And see, this is the difference between a person who practices the said light and the dark. All right? In other words, someone who is selfish, envious, jealous, and they practice and open their
chakras and raising Kundalini for the selfish purposes of just obtaining what's called siddhas or powers. So they can go and, sell these powers, you know what I'm saying? Basically, similar to like what Chris Angel, Dynamo and these different other magicians are doing just to show you tricks or what might look like tricks, but most of the time you can't explain these tricks. These are some very good tricks if they're tricks. Some believe that they're working with forces in which that give them these abilities. Once again, this is tapping into, remember, you had the lesser mysteries and you have the greater mysteries of King Solomon. All right. If you had a 5-pointed star ring, you was able to control the angelic forces. If you turned that ring inverted, you was able to control the so-called demonic forces. All right, and I hate to use those terminology because this is when Negroes get confused because they still come with that goddamn Christian mentality. That's a problem. All right, that's a real problem. You know what I'm saying? This isn't for Christians unless they understand this to the fullest esoteric, occultic / metaphysical level.
Which everybody in here understands. I appreciate y'all. Brother UL just said they taint the name of the dark side.
Right.
And it said the dark is the great mother and the light. It is the twin shadow.
Exactly. All right. So we know that that when you're dealing with the higher self, the pineal gland, which is the lamb, and you can get this from Manly P. Hall's book. All right. Manly P. Hall's have the grand symbol of man. All right. And then Dr. York put a part of that information in his book, which is called The Science of Healing. But basically, he symbolizes that the sustainer of this realm is the pineal gland, which is the lamb. All right. This is why I did the Lamb of God a couple of weeks ago. All right. Those videos are for the Christians, so they can learn how to come from up out of that nonsense that they believe in, which is fairy tales and superstition, into the light, real light, all right, of consciousness. All right. And basically, he's surrounded by his 12 disciples, which are nothing more than the 12 pericranial nerves. All right. And the longest pericranial nerves is known as the vagus nerve, which helps with basically every function in the body as far as the nervous system, and that nerve is the nerve in which that goes through the endocrine gland system, in which that helps with the hormonal balance in the body. All right. So they also call all the 12 spiritual centers in the brain that relates to the 12 major pairs of the cranial nerves, which passes from under the surface of the brain through the opening of the cranius to reach the organs in man's body. That is the science. All right. So we understand when we're talking about Washita, the Kundalini, it comes up through the back, which is basically known as the backbone of Osiris, which is known also as the Shishuna. All right, within the Sanskrit. All right, for those that is within the Kemetic belief, it is known as the backbone of Osiris or the Djid. All right, Djid. All right, this is where we get the word DJ from. Or matter of fact, DJ within the ancient Kemetic Metu Neter means serpent. So when you talking about the DJ spin some music, oh snap now.
Make you shake your kundalini.
Make you shake your kundalini. Make you wake that kundalini up. That's what he's there for. So it comes back to Jehuti, which is Thoth or Hermes, which is known as Hermes Trismegistus. All right. Within Arabic is known as Djinn. D-J-I-N-N, Djinn, which is a magical serpent, spirit, or genie. Hence what makes you a genius. All right. So, and a Jedati or Jedi, right, is a Egyptian magician.
Yep, the Jacob's ladder.
All right, that is Jacob's ladder. Exactly. Which is spoken of in the book of Revelations too. See, this is what happens trying to explain this information, it makes more sense when you apply it back to the human body. It don't make sense just reading it as a fairy tale or some type of superstitious story. In other cultures, the serpent power is called Kundalini, the serpent or serpentine fire, the Kundalini Shakti, which is a life force energy. And it has a tremendous power. It's 6,000 degrees in temperature. All right?
That's why people be spontaneously combusting. Don't have melanin.
They don't have access to the Holy of Holies, which is the activation of the pineal gland. Their third eye is calcified. In other words, they're third eye blind. And you got a rock group called Third Eye Blind. So they already know.
Eyes wide shut.
Eyes wide shut, exactly. All right. So this energy is wrapped 3.5 times coil at the base of the spine or the spinal cord at the place of the sacrum, the sacred place or palace, the first part of the spine. One of the most important secret rituals in the school of Asar Ra, which is Israel. Asar or Asaru Ra is Israel, which means to ascend to God in Hebrew. So when they talk about, I'm a follower of Israel, I'm an Israelite, you talking about Asar Ra. Asar Ra is who you following. That is the God. When you say Iya Asher Iya within Hebrew, you're saying Asar. I am Asar. I am. They translated to mean, I am that which that I am. But Asher is Asar. See, these are the tricks that they do. And was called the raising of the Jijid, which is the Naga. So when you raise the Kundalini in the backbone, you're opening the path of the serpent, the mother goddess principle, metaphorically to Ptah, which is Asar. But his name is Ptah, which is the opener. All right? In the Hebrew pentateuch, it means to open. In Arabic, you have the first chapter, which is called Fatiha, which means the opening. All right? Now, if you go to the J, all right? And this is in page 272 of the book that I spoke about. All right, coming from E.A. Wallace Budge, he says something very important. It says, "Stand, O Osiris, your spine. You now possess God with fixed heart. Your neck has been consolidated and strengthened. Go up, therefore, on your pedestal, O Osiris." All right, or Saru. "Here I pour lustrous water on your feet." Remember, Jesus poured water on the feet of his disciples? It says, "I bring you a golden Djid," which is talking about the golden, whitish, mercurish color in which that comes through the Djid, which is the raising of Kundalini. It says, "Be joyful, O Osiris, in the sight of this magical image." The Djid is also called Meru, where we get the term more from. All right, so this is how we connect Meru and Washita, which is Washita, together. This is a metaphysical connection here, not just a historical connection. All right, Negroes be getting too bogged down in history instead of putting the history together in order to make sense for themselves in this day and time. What's the purpose of reading about some shit that happened in the past if you can't apply it now? What's the point of reading about Moses supposedly splitting the Red Sea? How's that shit supposed to affect you here and now? And that shit happened 4,000 years ago, allegedly. As we know that it didn't happen, because these are mythical characters anthropomorphized into human form and these are characters that's based on actual living characters, or living beings, I should say, living people. All right?
In order to convey a life lesson.
Exactly.
Aesop fable.
Basically, it's just like Aesop tells. All right, so we know that the true wing disc is in the brain. All right, if you go to Dr. Layla's Africa book on page 15 of Nutrisize, he shows you the brain being blown up to the equivalent size of a car. And there's an electromagnetic galaxy-like cloud that hovers over top of it. Looks like a UFO sideways. That is also the mothership that Only Elijah Muhammad spoke of. That is the ship that these Europeans are speaking of, which is like Zechariah Ascension, did throughout his books, The 12th Planet, The Wars of God and Men, The Stairway to Heaven. It's the Stairway to Heaven. All right. As well as also The Lost Realms, where he speaks about the Olmecs being the Anunnakians. All right. Check that one out. So he told the truth. It's in the Lost Realms. But he says it's inside the brain in a fluid-filled space cavity known as the third ventricle, and the eye of Heru or Horus is alive and active and floats above the pineal gland, influences melanin and the spirit world unseen. This is the internal Nibiru, Nebhiru. All right, and Nebhiru was one of the 42 Neterus or gods of Mayat. All right, and as we said, the name Nebhiru means golden light. All right, and this internal Nibiru correlates to the external Sirius C, which is known as Emiya. This is symbolic to the return of the mother goddess principle. All right, also, right, or extension of the mother goddess principle, which would be the resurrection of the Kundalini and her son. Hence, you get the symbol of the Black Madonna and child. The Kundalini is symbolic to the Madonna, which is Mayat, which is Set, which is Mary. All right, and the child is the baby Christ, Jesus, Heru, known as Harpocrates, the baby child of Kemet or Egypt, Tamaray, to Mary. All right, and so we're looking at all of this connection here. All right, this is what we're talking about. Right, it has to be connected. All right, so the only way to do so is by reading hundreds and thousands of books. You're not gonna get this shit from off of just goddamn YouTube, all right, or just off of Google. All right, that's what we've been seeing. All right, we've been seeing plenty of that. So you had these ancient Egyptians that was already here. Remember, we was already here over 600 million years ago in the Western Hemisphere. All right, in North America. All right. Now, we're not saying that we did not arrive within what we now refer to as Africa, because based on the oldest relics found, we were in Africa over 2.8 billion years ago. But we did not grow within Africa. We did not come from no goddamn apes. We came from the stars. Right? We are Syrian beings. Right? That's who we are. Right? We talking about the melanated, so-called black, brown, and red men, as they refer to us, as if you want to use crayon colors. That is, I just simply say Moors, which symbolizes us ties, our ties to the land. But not just to the land, but also to the stars. All right? Because Moor within Hebrew means light. All right, so we also symbolize the light factor, which is the brightest star in the sky, which means coming from Sirius, which is the most adored constellation of the Arabs, of the Egyptians, as well as also of many cultures, Sumerians, all right, around the world. All right, so with this understanding, we was already here before the continental drift took place and the continents broke apart. We was already in North America, all right? And we was already referred to as ourselves in history as what we now, as they call it now, the ancient Egyptians, all right? But we know we called ourselves the Washita, all right, or Washita, all right? Now, the Empress, Verdiasi, Tierra, Turnica, Washita, Gaston El-Bey. What she did was bring this information back to us, that we were the ancient Egyptians, just like Professor Walter Williams has been telling us for decades. All right? We are the ancient Egyptians, because the ancient Egyptians were here already for hundreds, thousands, even millions of years in the Western Hemisphere. And we left from here, a branch of us left from here and went into Africa and went amongst our brothers and sisters in Ethiopia and got permission to draw what now becomes the Nile River. All right? And utilize that land. This is told. All right? Herodotus speaks about that. That the Egyptians were descended from the Ethiopians. And you even find that the Ethiopians were the high priests within the orders of Amen, the craft of Amen, which was the ancient mystery school of the Egyptians. They held those positions, the Cushites. So not only did we find that some of the pyramids here in the Americas are older than the Giza Plateau pyramids. There are some within South America which are even larger. Right? They're larger. All right? As well as also, all right? Now, when we get to the Washita, the Empress was able to go to the United Nations under the Indigenous Peoples Organizational number 2193, which means she did it in 1993. All right? And that was the seat number for the Washita at the United Nations, all right, which is 215. And this became effective, like I said, in 1993. And according to international law, the Washita had established itself as a sovereign, independent nation, right? This is United Nations NIS-21 /593. Now, of course, this is not active right now because there's people that's playing spies in games. But the Empress work still stands as valid. All right? Still stands as valid. And what happens is that she breaks down that apart from the that we was a sovereign independent nation, apart from the corporate union of 1781 and the corporate United States of 1787. And that the land claim of the Washita has been affirmed by Spain and France, as well as Britain, pursuant to the Spanish land grants. All right? Now, you get the movie, James Redfield, he wrote the movie, oh man, what was the name of that movie? Celestine Prophecies. In the movie, just 20 minutes in the movie, there's two Caucasians in a Jeep talking. And the passenger on the left asks the question, well, how did they receive the land? In other words, from the indigenous people. All right? He said that they received it from the Moors through a Spanish land grant.
So did.
Go and watch the movie. All right? So we're talking about the Spanish land grants of 1762 and 1795. And the Washita may be classified as a non-citizen U.S. national, but not as a U.S. citizen with a small c, which is i.e. a corporation. And you know, as well as also you might be what is called a non-residential alien through a 1040 NR form or a passport, which is a non-citizen U.S. national. You don't believe me? Just go and get the Dred Scott case or Dred Scott versus Sanford, 1856 to 1857. All right? Just go and get the book. You know, there's a book written on Dred Scott, as well as also get the case. Pull the case up. All right, so this is what we are talking about, is the real science now behind spirituality and how it manifests
in the fleshly form on planet Earth, right? It is called your nationality. That's what it's called, your nationality. Okay? And really, when we talk about nationality, we talk about your connection back to the land. If you look up the word more, which is derived from moru, you will see the word land embedded inside. You see the word more embedded inside the definition of land. That's no coincidence. And then you hear John Henry Clark specifically state that in order to have a nationality, it must instantaneously tie you back to land. Religion, well, history and culture. That's what he said. Tie you back to land. All right? Your nationality must tie you back to land, history, and culture. So, and he said it must do so instantaneously. So we're talking about instantaneously, we're talking about the way in which that it connects. All right? So there's no other word that's more instantaneous than when you look at the word land in the Blackstone Dictionary and you find the word more is embedded inside the definition. Some people don't want to use it. Well, that's fine. That's on you. But I see that the Albion is scared of that terminology because he knew that there's a historical factor that comes with it. We controlled the 7 seas, as they refer to it as. And they had to pay us tribute. You don't believe me? Get the book, The Barbary Wars, and get the book, Ancient and Modern Britons. Both of those books was written, volume 1 and 2, was written by David MacRitchie. See, this is what happens. You have to study. You have to read. Okay? You have to study. You have to read. There's no way around this so that you can find thyself approved. All right? That's the key. Now,
Tahunga said, let's start sailing again.
Yeah, we got to get boats. We got to get some boats up in this piece. And I ain't talking about them little, I ain't talking about no damn yacht.
But until then, we can go on a cruise together again. That was wonderful. We got one planning.
Where we trying to do one in September, y'all.
Yeah.
So help us out with that. We trying to do one in September. We trying to go to 2 pyramids, one in Cozumel and the other one in Tulum, in Mexico.
And then stop through Haiti.
Well, we was looking to see if that was another one too. So we trying to see which ones we're gonna plan first. But I think the first one, cause it's cheaper for everyone, would probably be the one to Cozumel and to Tulum. All right, but right here, just keep that in mind. We're talking about September now. All right. We're going to get that going soon, and we're going to have that information out real soon. We're going to go to the pyramids. All right, so remember, that's what we're talking about. Togetherness, unity, and traveling so that we can get this information, get this knowledge. All right, so that's coming up soon. All right, and then we're going to begin to start taking trips also to Africa.
But we also got some local ones too.
Right, we got local ones.
One in April at the mound in Ohio.
Right. We trying to do the one in the mound, which is called the Serpent Mound, y'all, in Ohio. All right. So we're gonna keep everybody posted. For those that want to know, go to www.dralim.com and go to calendar of events. Calendar of events. All right. Now. What I meant by some spies or agents is because they tried to transform the indigenous aboriginal nation empire, as we would say, because actually you have families, you have individuals come together to form families, nucleus of families. Then you have those families come together to form clans. Those clans form tribes, tribes form nations, nations form empires. All right. But the Washita Empire, all right, and I'm not talking about the 501c3 religious organization formed by Dr. L. Anderson. Not Claude Anderson, but Dr. L. Anderson
However, we are part of the true Washita Empire of Moors by heritage. All right. So after all the several strokes that the Empress had between 2001 2003, what happened was that her crown prince, who was known as Hutan Tupac Bey, who was our teacher, all right, came to us at our store in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and requested that we become chiefs and continue the legacy. And that's what we've been doing now for nearly for more than 16, going on 17 years now, not more. All right, so this correlates to the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. All right, that indigenous people, in exercising their right of self-determination, have the right to autonomy or self-government in matters relating to their internal and local affairs, as well as ways and means for financing their autonomous functions. All right, so this is one of the reasons why we do what we do, because we are actually trying to raise a nation. We're not playing with this. All right, we're going to build what we say we're going to build. We're going to do what we say we're going to do. All right, we already have 100 acres of land. We have several houses, you know, with land, you know. So we're trying to make sure that we get this, you know, going on, y'all. Okay, word, you okay? Got it up.
Yeah, I'm telling you, together we got everything we need.
What, somebody told you?
Yep, you well.
Oh,
You well in the house.
Oh, you well, no doubt. Appreciate that, God. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, we needed this 2 days ago. All right. But, all right, but right here. Furthermore, basically, we find that a lot of things have to take place, you know, of, hold on, let's get it. All right, there we go. All right, so like I said, Prince Bey, who was known as Hutan Tupac Bey, he made us chiefs. All right, and basically, I wrote this out because I understood that we have chiefs, and chiefs are leaders, but they're not rulers in a sense. All right, of dictating. All right, I'm not a dictator. So yes, I am a principal chief in United Washita D. However, I'm not a dictator. In fact, it's very similar to what they refer to as a USA governor. They are the instruments for executing the people's will. All money, gifts, and other forms of donations to the chief still belongs to the people for relief or aid to individuals in time of need. Right? We have had many individuals who have come to our home and have stayed for weeks and months and didn't pay anything, all right, or pay little. But I mean, after a certain time, I mean, shoot.
When we ask them to pay, that's when they leave.
Yeah, hell, you done hell. I mean, if you stayed damn 3 months, you done became a damn roommate. Shit. You know what I'm saying? It's time to start paying some damn bills. You know what I mean?
Because you grown.
Yeah, helping. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this ain't no daddy-children relationship up in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Hell, especially when we all about the same age. We're only about maybe 10 years apart or something. You know what I mean? All right, but you know this is the key. That the laws and decrees are issued in the same manner to assure that the voice of the chiefs is the voice of the people. The people and the government are one and the same. Chiefs, therefore, are under the law and not above it. All right? The people, in honor of the founders of the nation, thereafter will elect chiefs from the founders' family lineage if the heirs meet the original test that reflected the founders' character, rites of passage. Decisions are made in council among the chiefs, with each chief having one vote. Here, too, the supreme command of the fighting force of the self-defense is under the council. The family is recognized as the primary educational, social, judicial, economical, and political unity in the society. The family council may function as a court empowered to try all internal, non-serious matters involving only members of the extended family group, nationals. In all actuality, the land belongs to no one, It is the earth, and we all live on it temporarily. However, the chiefs is and are the custodians of the land. Hell, as the Syrian beings, we are the custodians of the planet. All right? The principal's duty being to assure fair distribution and actual use. The land may be used for life and passed on to family heirs. Right? Because heir land can't be sold. All right? It's to be utilized. All right? Then 7, the indigenous spiritual system, misnomer religion, is a way of thinking and living. And this is reflected in all indigenous institutions and is therefore of the greatest constitutional significance. Right? This is what Prophet Noble Drew Ali was attempting to bring. And many of his followers have gotten it mixed up and confused. The chief role is also that of a high priest. Therefore, the chief must strive to evolve into knowingness through discipline. For without discipline, the soul cannot enter the higher spiritual realms, called heaven, to commune with the ancestors and the great mother, father, oversoul. Thus, it becomes a prerequisite for the chiefs to learn the mastery of thoughts, the mastery of passions, the mastery of the body and all its members. Develop and cultivate the life force light within us. This mastery can be enhanced through an initiation process of rites of passage, yet really it is a lifelong attainment. The chief must master the solstice and equinox ceremonies, the mound rituals and the dance ceremonies or rituals, which is known as the galactical solar or DNA chakra alignment, or what is also known as the serpent dance. Drive away evil, the sun, rain, and etc. All right? So you must learn the sun dance, rain dance, and how to drive away evil dance. All right? And the serpent dance. And it talking about the purification rites, birth names, marriage, and funeral ceremonies. All right? We presided over many marriages and several funerals. All right? All right? My first funeral was actually my teachers, Prince Bey, Prince Sultan Tupac Bey, Crown Prince of the Empire Washita Demunya in 2004. All right? And this is his picture for those that definitely want that understanding of who he is. Here he is right
here. He's on
here.
the back of the book, The First World Order.
Right, he's on the back of the book. All right? And this is him. This was the guy that taught me for 9 years. All right? So, let's continue on here. All right, so basically the chief offers the prayers of the people within and without to the ancestors to the heavens. All right, who is known as the angels or angels of lights or extraterrestrials or extraterrestrial energies. But the chief must conduct meditation ceremonies for inward awareness. The people must start inwardly to bring about a genuine transformation outwardly. Understanding the universal axiom as above, so below, as within, so without. Right? This is why this is named this channel. This channel is called As Above, So Below, As Within, So Without Network. All right? We're not dealing with TV. Right? We already know that it's called Tell Lies to Your Vision. So why would you even use that as if you have a TV station? No, we have a network, right? We're trying to work and we're trying to net or come together just like the spider who spins the web, all right? Which creates those links, all right? So we know that this will help us do so. By looking within, it will help us do so. The chiefs must forever strive to reestablish heaven on earth by strengthening the connection between the so-called mortal physical body and the immortal spiritual soul. Okay? That's just what it is. All right? And so we want to show some of the information. All right, I don't know if we can pull it up or not.
It's right there at the bottom.
All right, but
You done downloaded 8 times, babe.
for real? God dang. All right,
Right there at the bottom.
but anyway, here at the United Nations, they refer to us as Prince Alim El-Bey, as you see here, when they sent out the information for us. So yes, I'm also not just a chief, I am the prince. So principal chief, as referred to as myself as, and my wife is also a princess, all right, or the principal chief or chiefess of United Washita Damanya. These are positions in which that we don't take lightly, but we was given, you know. So let's see. Let's pull it up for Queen now, and you can see.
Baby Ray Ray just gave a super chat.
I appreciate that, Brother Ray Ray, no doubt. All right, so here you see Kadera. She's referred to by the United Nations as princess. All right, Kadera Maya El-Bey.
Ray had 5 on
5 on it, and it's not going to be spent on weed. All right, so no doubt about that, because we don't need that. You know what I'm saying? We don't need that. All right, so we wanted to show y'all that, you know, that at the United Nations, we dealing with the indigenous people at the Indigenous People Forum during the last week in April and the beginning of the 2 weeks in March. It's about 2 weeks affair in which that they have, we got a God who's trying to get us to go this year again. So we thinking hard about that. Brother Sheldon, he wants us to go again this year. We definitely need to connect. And for those that is interested, you might want to give us a call at 910-364-9099 and see you know, how many people can come. All right. I know one year we took like about 50 people up in that piece. All right, and actually had 400 people in the lecture, and we had people from all over the indigenous world to lecture. All right, we had the indigenous presidents of affairs from Morocco. We had the indigenous president from Australia, and she was real cool. All right, the one from Morocco said, "We are in your land. We have your flag." All right, that's what he said. All right, so let's look at it. 1993, which was the year when the Washita joined the United Nations. It was also proclaimed the International Year of the World's Indigenous People by the member states of the United Nations. This led to the International Decade of the World's Indigenous People from 1995 to 2004. 2004 is when we were officially formed as United Washita Damanya. Right? During this time, delegates from around the globe gathered to draft a formal United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. If you do not have that declaration, you're slipping. After many years of collaboration and debate, the United Nations General Assembly adopted this declaration and advanced the recognition of the self-determination as a distinct cultural right for indigenous and tribal people worldwide. And since 1993, the nation of the Empire Washita Damanya has played a vital role in elaborating our position relative to the most important rights of indigenous people, health, and our lands. In 1993, the United Nations Center for Human Rights recognized the Empire Washita Damanya Moors as the oldest indigenous group of people on Earth. And this is when you get the register project number 215, right, /93 and sued. All right. No, make it small if I can see.
Oh, okay. Slide it over there. Let me see.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so right here, the sovereign people of the Empire Washita Nation, or the Imperial Washita Nation, ratified the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People at our annual conference on January the 8th, 1997. Now, President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama declared their nationality with the Washita in 1997. The same year, Barack became
began his senator's term. They removed themselves from the bar, which is the British Accreditation Regency. They are no longer attorneys. They resigned their bar to give it back to us. They would lead us into becoming the American Republic lawful and peacefully. And of course, this is the reason why they kept showing the flag of the Moroccan flag over and over again, because that is the national flag. The flag in which that we use is our tribal flag, all right? Or as we would say, our just like a state, all right? You have states. States have their own flags, all right? But yet they also have the so-called banner of the United States, which they do commerce under, all right? But the maritime flag, you know what I'm saying, as they refer to it as, especially the one with the golden, as they say, what is the golden stripes, not golden stripes, but the golden ruffles that hangs from it, all right? That's the banner for commerce. You also have our old cherry flag, which was cut down, as they say, by George Washington, all right, 1774, all right? But really, he was not age 9 in school that George Washington told his father, "Father, I cannot tell a lie. I chopped down the cherry tree." Well, the cherry tree was the old cherry, which is the flag in which that we have with the 5-pointed star on it, which was shown by over and over again by Barack Obama and Michelle during the presidency.
Yeah.
All
Hey,
right.
we got a question. Goldie Alvin, he's confused. He said, when you say indigenous people, are you talking about black people that were found all over the world?
Well,
or are we talking about black people from the land Africa? Because that sort of confuses me.
But there's nothing you can be confused about. We are the indigenous people or aboriginal people all over the world. However, we're talking about the indigenous aboriginal people that was found here in North America before the Albion was even on the planet, and after he got on the planet when he supposedly discovered America.
Now remember, the earth used to be all together. It was called Pangea.
Right.
So the people were walking freely throughout all what we call continents.
Right. So before the continents even broke apart, we was already on every continent.
Right.
All right. For those that need to understand that, because I know they told you that we didn't become human because we evolved from apes about 300,000 years ago. You know, you had a Neanderthal man, and then the Neanderthal died out, and then Homo sapien through what is called the Grimaldi and through the Cro-Magnon men came on the scene, and then we supposed to came humans, Homo sapien, then became Homo sapiens sapien. You know, so if you believe that Charles Darwin bullshit, then of course that leads to some confusion. But if you get books such as Forbidden Archaeology, which tells you that we've been on this planet Earth as humans 2.8 billion years ago, and here in North America 600 million years ago, which you might have came on late, but I said all of this in the beginning. All right, so
he said, "Sorry, I haven't been following this channel, so sorry if my question seems quite neophyte."
No. There's no problem with asking that question. I love that you asked that question. You know, I just wanted to make sure that it was understood. You know, our position, the books in which that definitely must have is the hidden, is Forbidden Archaeology and the Hidden History of the Human Race. Those two books by Michael Creedmoor and Richard L. Thompson. And they tell you about the archaeological and anthropological artifacts, as well as also relics that have been found throughout the world. But even here within North America, in Dorchester, Massachusetts, there was a metallic bell-shaped structure that was found with exquisite carving on it that was found that dated back to 600 million years ago. All right, so that means that there was people here on planet Earth who was able to smelt metal 600 million years ago. It do not correlate to their 6,000 year of history. It do not correlate with their Neanderthal caveman scenario. All right, so we know that there was already beings on this planet for millions and billions of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, So get those books, and it will help explain, and take out some of that confusion that you won't have to worry about any longer, because that's the whole reason, why all of this been going on, because everybody been confused about these timelines that they have artificially put on us. All right. So basically,
also too,
Mhm.
brother, when we went on Sinetta's studios, we understood that we would be opening the door for more people who were basically like, when you go to the club and you realize it's just time for you to stop going. You want something more. So, we basically left the door open so that more people who wanted to deal with higher science could. Brother UL said, do you have a coat of arms, Dr. Alim?
A coat of arms.
Mm-hmm.
We had one that was made some years ago, but we need to have an updated one. Why, brother UL? You know how to do that there. You know how to do that there. You know how to do that there.
Brother UL look like he know how to do a whole bunch.
That's what
of
I'm
stuff,
saying,
guys.
brother. You know how to do that there. You know how to do that there. Then yeah, we need one, bro. Hook us up.
I think you always need one. He got 3.
Hook us up. Nah,
Brother El-Bey did one.
No.
Then also too, we got them coat of arms for our names.
No, we got a coat of arms in which that the guy No.
Remember?
No, that's not ours. That's what I mean. We need one for us, for United Washita.
Okay.
With our own flags and stuff, not somebody else's stuff. But
it was in the archives though. You had to put your name in, and then they gave you your family crest from back in the day.
Yeah.
I think he said he wanted another one.
Right, but that's those are personal based on the names. You know what I'm saying? I was adopted, so I don't know my family.
That's another thing,
my family.
Lineage, somebody, if you know this baby face, and come on now.
Anyway,
because his mom won't tell him. All right.
But anyway,
Goldie got another question. He said, "Great, I love the response. So, why the transatlantic trade?
Well,
if there were indigenous people were already here in America, why carry all the people from? But remember, it was Pangea. We were there also.
Yeah, but for the transatlantic trade, what they talking about is the fact that, yes, they went over and got some people from Africa because it was a shorter trip to go from England and from Portugal and Spain and those European countries to go into Africa, instead of just coming over here first. So
as a matter of fact, even now, when you fly from England to go to Africa, it's like $100. But if you fly from the U.S. to Africa, it's $4,000.
Right. So that shows you right there.
Yeah.
So it was closer. So what happens is that not only did they populate and fueled Europe with the slave trade as we know it as, the Arabs did it first. And now we had the Europeans not only doing so in Europe, but now coming across into the Americas, the so-called New World that they founded. And they did not have the technology that they thought they had. So they went into Mali, places like Timbuktu, and stole the doctors, the lawyers, the masons, and all of the architectures and drafters and those type of beings and people. And they brought them here. You know what I'm saying? It was only about 15%, all right, of the population, all right? The other 85% of our ancestry was already here in North America. So yes, we have African blood. There's no doubt about that, because we had a recent hit, with the African blood from the slave trade. But even before the so-called slave trade, 200 years before Columbus, there was a man by the name of Abu Bakari II who brought 2,200 ships here to the Americas. Okay? At one time, in 1 year, 2,200 ships in one session, in less than a year, I should say. All right? 2,200 ships.
Also, if you have no said birth record, it means you are ancient. You are more ancient than this society wants to make you think. Let's just stop holding on to this slave narrative, because you are older than that. You greater than that.
Right.
That's all brainwash.
Right. So, yes, as they refer to us as so-called slaves. I don't call them slaves. I say POWs, prisoners of war. All right. So yes, the prisoners of war were brought here. About 15% of our present bloodline ties, but Abu Bakari bought 2,200 ships with the same doctors and lawyers and physicians and masons, architects and drafters here to the New World. All right, and they landed within areas, within Mexico, as well as came up into the interior of the Mississippi, and they went into Arizona and Nevada and came into the southern region, and so forth and so on. All right, so they mixed in with the Olmecs because the Olmecs were their brothers. The Olmecs is said to have come from out of Mali. All right, so but they came from out of that interior over 5,000 years ago. And then you had others who was there, even so-called blacks who was there even longer than that. Okay, in the Americas, which once again goes back to 600 million years ago. So yes, we have that history. But here is the article. It's from Scientific American magazine, January 5th, 1852. All right, and it says, contain a report about blasting carried out at Meeting Hill Rock in Dorchester, Massachusetts. It says the blast disgorged tons of rock described by the United States Geological Survey as putting stone over 600 million years old. A bell-shaped metallic vessel was blown out of the rocks that was about 4 inches high and was covered with exquisite carving, indicating the presence of artistic metalworkers over 600 million years ago. Once again, get the book Forbidden Archaeology, The Hidden History of the Human Race by Michael Creedmoor and Richard L. Thompson. All right? Now, Prophet Noble Drew Ali tells you this within the Holy Quran, Circle 7. Tells you in chapter 47, Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. All right? And I'm not going to read everything. We just come down, and it says right here, their dominion and habitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across the Great Atlantis, which is talking about the Atlantic Ocean, and the Caribbeans, which actually is Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, also in Mexico, and the Atlantis Islands. See, this is how we know that the Caribbean islands is Atlantis Islands. Prophet Noble Drew Ali puts this information in the Holy Quran, Circle 7. Before the great earthquake, which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean, right? So he's talking about 200 to 250 million years ago, right? This occurred. Now, the crazy thing is that scientists tells us that the great earthquake, or what is called the continental drift, took place 200 to 250 million years ago, but we was already in the Americas 600 million years ago, as we just read within Forbidden Archaeology, The Hidden History of the Human Race. So that means 400 million years before the continental drift, we was here. We was here. All right? And according to the Empress Verdiasi Tierra Turnica Washington Gaston El-Bey, she states that the Washita are the original inhabitants of what is now called North, Central, and South America, the adjoining islands. Therefore, the Washita are not Indians' federalized term. We do not accept the name African American, colored, or Indian. We, the people of North America, are predominantly Washita, the ancient mound builders. We were here thousands of years before the amalgamated so-called Indian. The Washita Empire have many descendants. For example, the 12 Shoshone or Shawnee nations. You have the Cherokee, the Creek, the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Seminoles, the so-called 5 civilized tribes. You have the Blackfoot. You have the Arikari. You have the Sioux, the Kiowa. You have the Mohawk, the Cheyenne, and Mandan. All right. We also are the Yamasee or Yamasee, the Arawak, the Lumbee, the Montauk, the Nanocote Moors, who is known as the Lenape or the Bene Ishmaelites, the Melungeons, the Mohicans, the Comanche, the Nez Perce, as well as the Natchez. We are the Pawnee. or the Washaha, or the Wosho, as we was called, the Washita is Wosho. You have the Tuscarora, the Catawba, you have the Micmac, the Osage, the Jenison, you had the Mattaponi, you had the Powhatan, and the Wampanoag, and many more tribal nations. We was all one, right? The facts of this rings true in the Treaty of Camp Holmes. Get the Treaty of Camp Holmes. In the treaty, it says that the Comanche and the Wichita Indians, all right, and their associated bands, for this purpose of establishing and perpetuating peace and friendship between the United States of America and the Comanche and the Wichita nations. So the Washita were various nations, was made up of various nations. Who are these nations that they talking about? They are associated bands and tribes of Indians, and between these nations and tribes, who are they? They said it, Cherokee, the Muskogee, which is a Creek, the Choctaw, the Osage, the Seneca, all right, the Quapaw nations and tribes of Indians. All these tribal nations together were and are the remnants of the empire Washita Didagdamanya, which is known as the Ottoman, Moroccan, the Ghana, Malian, Songhai, Kushite, Meserim Empire. We're all the same people. Okay? All the same people. So get African, Native Americans, we are still here. Read that article. It says they are African descent, but they are also Blackfoot, Canarsie, Carib, Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Creek, Lenape, Manticock, Mohawk, Muncie, Rapaho, Shinnecock, and of course, when you get to the Shinnecock, we know Old Dirty B was descended. His great-great-grandfather was the chief of this Shinnecock. And it is the Shinnecock in which that allegedly sold Manhattan for 24 beads. That's what the story they told us. We know really that was bullshit story. Really what they did was annihilate and produce genocide on the Shinnecock people. Then you have the Seminoles, who are the Yamasee. You can't call the Chicong, and you also have the Taino, who are the actually the Arawak. All right, so we know this is all connected. Then you have Raphaelique, who was a naturalist who explored and took accurate descriptions and documentation of his works throughout the United States, in mentioning that the Negroes, Blacks, Moors, Ethiopians, explorers such as Fenunique, referred to the Negro Black Africans, not dark-skinned Indians. But you know, at the time of Columbus, the subcontinent of India was referred to as Hindustan or Deccan. All right, and the European term for indigenous people all over the world was Indian, for the Spanish word Indios, which means God's people. All right, so Indios is where we get the word Indian from, which means God's people. All right, you get Jack D. Forbes in his book, Africans and Native Americans, page 69. He states that in 1524, the people of the Carolina coast was said to be of dark color, not much unlike the Ethiopians. If you get the Charlotte Observer, dated Sunday, August the 15th, 1993, it states that North Carolina in 1690 reported the presence of Moors and that they are the ancestors of people erroneously called Melungeons. So there was Moors here in 1690 and before. And we're not doing no separation, because what they refer to as the Ethiopians were Moors, because Ethiopia capital was called Meru or Maro. All right, where we get the word Moor from. It's all connected. Right? But only people who have a holistic mindset can put these keys together. You know what I'm saying? That's the key. That's when you come here. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring everybody into the fold of holistic thinking. Not just one way of thinking, but expand your consciousness so you can think in various ways in order to put the pieces of this puzzle together. And you get the Ancient American Magazine, issue 17, it reported evidence for dark-skinned natives in the Americas long before the arrival of Columbus's abundance. So see, they reported this. From the distinctively Negroid features of the Colossus Olmec sculptured heads and the pre-Aztec Abyssinian bowl being upheld by a figure with unmistakable black characteristics to the bones of Negroid people excavated from a 2,000-year-old mound in northern Wisconsin. A wealth of material exists to establish the certainty of non-whites and non-Indian population living in pre-Columbian America along with these other groups. Thus, so many mounds have been deliberately destroyed. Over 200,000 ancient mounds or pyramids known as Meru, and huge mounds, tekenu, of earth in the shape of cone, animals, and geometrical designs can be found from the southern coast of America to Canada. These structures were built by so-called obscure people, largely known as the mound builders, deduct the money, in other words, the Washita. So here, according to the Socio-Economics, the history of Pan-African trade, commerce, money, and wealth, these blacks found in the Americas. All right, this is by First Book Library. It says here, the mound builders, they were dark-skinned, woolly-haired blacks who were indigenous, natives to North America, and kin to the Olmecs of South America. The Olmecs and Washita, black Californians, Yamasees or Yamasee, the Californami, and other pre-Columbian blacks of the Americas were a part of a prehistoric trade network that began in Africa and spread it worldwide over 100,000 years ago at various periods afterwards. According to a history of African Olmecs, this is by First Book Library, not a single European nation, tribe, or kingdom is responsible for the presence of blacks in the Americas. The very first people of Negroid African race arrived in the Americas over 30,000 years ago. And according to National Geographic's on an article called The Peopling of America, more than 50 skulls representing Africans and people of Africoid Aboriginal type, similar to that of the Malaysian and Australian, was found in Brazil. All right, so this is what we're talking about, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, you know, and this is our tie back to this land. So not just Africa, but to this land. All right, as the European has already verified. All right, get the book, A History of African Olmecs. This is First Book Library. See, there are many books the First Book Library don't put out. It says the black Olmec dominated Mexico and Central America for more than 3,113 years before Christ to about 400 years after Christ. What happened to the descendants of the Olmecs? Here's the shocking fact. The Olmecs spread throughout the Americas, building settlements, mounds, and trading all over the region. Many remained in Mexico, some mixed out of existence, a sad trend that led to their disappearance. The vast majority of them left their settlements and returned to trading and maritime activity between Africa and the Americas by the time of Columbus' visit. The descendants of, check this out, the descendants of the Olmecs also settled the Mississippi Valley, Texas, and the southwestern United States. They became victims of kidnapping for enslavement. When the edict by the Pope was written to enslave all descendants of Ham found in the new lands was passed by the Catholic Church. Hence, today is America. The present communities of blacks from Brazil to Canada are a mixture of Olmecs, Washita, Californami, which is black Californians, all right, and those spread it out throughout even South America, the Yamasee, the Gala, which is the Gale, which is actually talking about the Geechee Gala people within South Carolina. You have the Black Catted, all right, which is also connected with the Arawak, and those slaves brought to the Americas after Columbus. The Olmecs never disappeared. Check this out. The Olmecs never disappeared, but moved to remote parts of Central America and Mexico or were turned into slaves in the U.S. Many of the Ish people, Olmecs, became victims of kidnapping for enslavement
Some remained in Mexico, like we said. The vast majority of them left, all right? And so we see them spread it out, all right, throughout the Americas, settling in Mississippi, Valley, Texas, all right? So we see them. And also even into the Caribbean islands, the Bermuda Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, Bahamas, Trinidad, and Barbados, and etc. They even settled Easter Island. So they even went west. They set up colonies on the Caribbean islands and became known as the Arawak. There was the people Christopher Columbus' crew encountered. The Arawak mixed in with the Portuguese, Spanish, and British to produce the Taino tribe. Right, this is how you get us. Get the book by Alfonso D. Caterter Fagis. He's an anthropologist at the Museum of Natural History in Paris, and he identifies this in his book, The Human Species, 1905. He says that the black inhabitants were found in small numbers in isolated areas in America. Some examples were that of the Jamasi from Florida, the Carlos of Brazil, and the Black Caribs of St. Vincent on the Gulf of Mexico, and the Black Zuni of present-day Arizona and Mexico. Okay? So this is what's going on, y'all. We got to get this information right. All right? And this is going to be the last part right here.
Unless y'all have some questions. So get y'all questions ready.
Right. No doubt. So right here, the evidence of the Washita Nation of the southern United States is another place of solid evidence for the fact of a pre-Columbian African presence and settlement in the Americas and specifically in North America, United States. According to an article carried in the magazine, the Freedom Press newsletter, which was reprinted as the Earthway, the newsletter of the Sojourner Truth Farm School, it says the Washita were and still are a nation of Africans who existed in the southern United States and Mississippi Valley region long before the 16th century Europeans arrived, and even before there were Indians, so-called Native Americans on the land the Washita once occupied and still occupied today. According to the article, the Washita Nation governs more than 3 million acres. Matter of fact, up to 30 million acres if you include Canada, which is almost the whole of Canada. But it says Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Mississippi, etc. Right? Get the book African Presence in Early America by Ivan von Sertima. According to the Washita Nations, when Spain ceded the Louisiana territory to France, they excluded the land belonging to the Washita Nation. France did not include it in the Louisiana Purchase. And according to the leader, all right, this land is not part of the United States of America. The point was made in the newspaper, the Capital Spotlight, June 1992. In fact, the courts agreed that the land was not part of the United States and that, in fact, the Washita Nation was on the land long before European colonialists. Therefore, in legal decision made, some of the ancient territory was returned. Right? This was the historical decision that was made in 1991, which was the 68,883 acres that was returned. All right, so among the original black nations, there exists in America before Columbus and long before Christ was the Yamasi or Yamasees, which were the priests of the Washita, which the name Messiah also is connected. Messiah or Yamasi. All right, Mass was the name used for those messiahs that was made in ancient Kemet, and they had a large kingdom in the southeastern United States. Their descendants were also the first blacks of pre-Columbian American origin who fell victim to kidnapping for the purpose of enslavement, which is you and I lineage. All right, blacks of South America, the Caribbeans, and Central America was also attacked and enslaved based on a pontificate passed during the mid-1400s by the Catholic Church hierarchy, giving the Europeans the go-ahead to enslave all the children of Ham, as we said, founded in the newly discovered territory. The descendants of the Yamasees are the millions of blacks that live in Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and northern Florida. They, of course, also had African slave ancestors, but these slaves are the relatives of the same Africans who sailed to America of their own free will, as I told you, by Abu Bakari II, while Europe was in the Dark Ages and long before Christ for that matter. Hence, the Olmecs, who was already here for over 5,000 years ago. All right, so this is what we're talking about. These are the proofs in our tie back to land. This is why this class was called Land. All right. Any questions, y'all?
You said Alfonso?
Right.
What was that name again?
Right. The name was Alfonso. Right. His name was Alfonso. Let me go up. It's PH instead of F.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, still not there. Let me see, because it can't be that far up.
Alphonse D.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Tayano tribe.
Alphonse D. Katri.
And that's QATREFAGES.
No doubt.
All right. Let me see. Brother UL said he's Arawak.
Yeah, I'm Arawak and Washita.
Will said
exactly.
Will said this is a beautiful build. More #facts for days.
No doubt. Appreciate that.
He said his library about to get fatter.
Oh yeah. Let that get fat. Let that get fat. No doubt about it.
We also gonna make it so y'all can see us. Let's just do the transition real quick. There you go. I watched the video on how to
Right, we got this far, and then Brother Yoel just took us on in. That's what I'm talking about. Took us on in to mastering it. There we go.
there
Yeah. All right, we back. We're back. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, we back. Okay,
Hold
press
up,
okay.
they can't see us though. I just
they
pressed
can't?
it. Let's see. Okay. Transition. It ain't doing it, huh? Scene 2. Scene 1.
Yoel?
No, that wasn't your. I watched a YouTube video.
Oh, okay.
But I did make him a moderator.
All right. No, okay, there we go.
We see ourselves.
I don't know. All right, can you see us?
Oh, you know what? That's how we'll do it. Since we sharing our screen.
Right.
That's how we'll do it.
Right.
There you go.
Right. All right.
Okay.
Y'all can see us. All right. So, let's see if there's any other questions.
Are there any books on the Black Californians?
Yes, definitely. There's a book on the Black Californians. Like I said, the book is Socio-Economics, and it's talking about the world trade between the Americas and Africans that started over 100,000 years ago. All right, it's called Socio-Economics, S-U-S-A, Socio-Economics, and trade. Get that book, okay?
Let me see. Sashetta, she said bombs and it was on fire.
Bombs. Word. I'm glad we was able to get this stuff pulled up for y'all. But yeah, we wasn't gonna make no more mistakes. We had to do it today. All right, for the last 2 days, we've been struggling trying to get this thing up. But today we got it. All right. So no doubt about it.
It's not where it's gonna be, but we definitely did 8 live streams by mistake.
Right. No doubt. But we glad that y'all hung on for the night and got something from it though.
Yeah. Their law is just the wizards using enchantment and spells to control your beliefs.
No doubt.
That's what UL said.
No doubt, UL. That is the truth. You know, and then when you break the spell, you know, they looking at you like, oh, terrorists. Nigga, ain't nobody damn did shit to you. Except we found the truth. And now we telling our people. But I guess that's deadly enough, huh? You know.
Yeah, because they work so hard to.
Yeah, they work so hard to make sure.
To just get us on 200 mind frame. Yeah. When we holistic, they work so hard to fragmentize our mind.
Yeah, they love the linear thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, them they're jackasses. They love them. You know, but when you start getting to this holistic shit,
Oh, hell no. No, no, no. Can't have that. You know, can't have them coming this awoke, you know, from the physical to the spiritual planes. They talking about this type of shit. You know, how they not just the gods of the universe, but the goddamn gods of the planet. Oh my God, no. That can't be.
Goalie Alvin said, I'm in Nigeria at the moment and I don't get any teachers giving me this kind of information. So I'm sorry if I'm taking you back. I do appreciate your time.
No. We appreciate that. Remember, we love answering questions because this is sword sharpens sword. Iron sharpens iron. Steel sharpens steel. We want that interaction. We need that interaction. Comments, like we said, click, like, subscribe. We love it all. You know what I'm saying? If you can super chat, we trying to get things done. All right. So we're not just talking. You know. So we getting ready to open up this vegan restaurant. So we would love donations. All right. There's things in which that we have to finish getting, such as the steel or big steel refrigerator and stuff like that. We've been doing mostly we've been doing it ourselves, and we have one other brother who's been helping us.
Yeah, we definitely utilize our people in order to do the work and stuff like that. But yep, the next purchase is a commercial refrigerator.
Right.
So if you'd like to help, you can cash app to $ Moorish Holy Temple #2, and or PayPal through the website dralimel.com, or you can Patreon.
Right.
That way you can get as well as receive.
Right.
Goldie says, if the Dios are God's people, then whose people are the Europeans?
The Europeans, I'll tell you like this. The Bible states specifically that there are those who say they are Jews but are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. You know, so we're looking at individuals who pineal glands, 60 to 80% of them have calcified pineal glands. So I'm not talking about the 20 or 40%. The 20 to 40% we can deal with. We can build. They have activation, you know, based on the amount of melanin that they have, which is about 70 nanograms of melanin flowing through them. So they have an activated pineal gland. It's not calcified. But for those that have calcified pineal glands, oftentimes what they do is eat pineal glands. Right? And we're talking about those individuals at the elite. All right, the elite. These are the ones that's behind all this bullshit that's going on upon planet Earth. But you get the book Black Sun by Preston Nichols, right? And Peter Moon, right? Get the book Black Sun. They speak about in certain secret societies or rituals, they eat pineal glands, all right? They also attempted to extract what is called adrenochrome from the individual. So they scared the individual to damn near the point of death, you know, by doing all types of horrific type of things to them. And they drink the blood and, you know, eat the pineal glands, and they get high on this shit. I mean, so high that it helps them to break through as far as producing DMT and pinoline because their pineal glands are calcified. Right? So this is the reason why they do these types of things. Right? And this is, now when we were talking about Lucifer and Satan, we talking about the original information, how it came from ancient Kemet and it came from us. But when you get to these perverted rituals that these devils have, you know, then we talking about something else. All right. And this is what we're talking about. The pedophilia within the Pizzagate, what is called Pedogate, as well as Kuru, that Hillary Clinton having Kuru, and because she have eaten so much flesh and drunk so much blood. All right, she had the signs and symptoms of Kuru, Kuru. All right, And this is the shit that we looking at, that these devils are doing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, this is a whole nother thing. I'm not calling every white man the devil, all right? But these are really devils. The average so-called white man, white woman, you know, that 20 to 40% that has activation to their pineal gland. And I'm not the one who made these statistics. You have to get African Origin of Biological Psychiatry by Dr. Richard King, in which that he states that Africans have 5 to 15% calcified pineal glands. Asians have 20 to 25% calcified pineal glands, but the European have 60 to 80% calcification of the pineal gland. So that means that leaves 90% of, about 90% of our people that we can deal with, you know what I'm saying? But that 10%, those are black devils. All right, then you have the Asians, we'll be talking about maybe 80% of them we can deal with, you know what I'm saying? But the rest of that 20 to 25% are Asian devils. All right, then you have 20 to 40% of Europeans that we can deal with, you know what I'm saying? And they are the basic, you know, individuals that go to work, come home, you know, trying to feed their children, you know, go to work or whatever the case is. You know, ain't trying to, fuck with nobody. We ain't talking about them conceited, arrogant crackers that, that's that love publicity. You know what I'm saying? What was the ones who was calling on mugs at the barbecue Becky, as she was called?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She had to call on us for having a barbecue.
Then they got somebody named Patty.
You know, they got Patty. I don't know. I can't remember.
Patrol Paul.
Patrol Paul. You know what I'm saying? All of these jokers. You know what I'm saying? These are arrogant. These are sociopathic, psychopathic. You know what I'm saying? These are the ones with these tendencies. These are the ones with these calcified pineal glands, and their fucking arrogance. All right, this is who we talking about. That 60 to 80%. All right, so that means that the majority of them we can't fuck with. We talking about 70% of them we can't fuck with. All right, and this is who we talking about that needs to be eradicated from off the planet. Okay, this is why only Elijah Muhammad said there will be some white people that still might exist. You know, that will exist. You know what I'm saying? But he's talking about that 30% or so. You know what I'm saying? So go and read and do your research on this information. You know what I'm saying? I had to give it to you that way in the 5% terminology. You know what I'm saying? And also in scientific terminology, because this is coming from Dr. Richard King, MD, who written books on melanin in the pineal gland, you know what I'm saying, over the last 2 decades. All right? I first read his book, which was called The Black Dot. That shit was this thick. So when you get them little books, like African Biological Psychiatry and Melanin, the Key to Freedom, that shit is nothing compared to the research that he originally had, which I read in 1990 and 1991. That shit was this much. That much information. Okay? So, this is the information, the conclusions that we've come to. So what's going on there?
Okay, Goldie Alva, he said, I'm in Nigeria and life ain't getting easier. So what can information do in order to change that fact that we are caught up in a web of money and no training to help with self-survival? Now, it seemed like to me Nigeria should have a lot of resources because the weather is so beautiful. I would definitely deal with food, clothing, and shelter. So plant some of them seeds. Also connecting with us as power moves too, because our people be loving African garbs and drums and sometimes
shea butter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shea butter is a big thing here in the States. So if you was able to get some type of import and export, you know what I'm saying, service
crystals,
going on.
Come on, y'all got all them herbs over there.
Right.
Aswanda, what's that other herb we've been studying that cures glycemic issues?
Gymstavia, something.
Y'all got
like
a lot of resources, God. And see, that's what knowledge is going to do. It's going to inspire you, and it's going to make you be more self-sufficient.
No doubt.
Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, but you want to get an import business going on, since
I
you were
would.
over there in Africa, and start
And you got internet access?
and start sending some of those resources back. If you got internet internet connection, which obviously you do, then you would want to do some type of website which is based on the items in which that you can get from Africa and start importing them here to the States. Okay.
Leek Bull, he says the obscene right. Is that the Masonic name for? I remember Bobby saying the Rosicrucians, the obscene right. I also heard that if they have pure melanin, they will go crazy because it's so strong. Melatonin.
Right.
They'll go crazy.
Right. We seen melatonin go from coming from humans, then coming from cows.
Yeah.
And then going back to humans.
Because they say they get a small amount. They have to do like 5 football fields of cows to get the melanin.
Just the melanin that is equal to within one of us.
Mm-hmm. That's what the Leonard Child murders was about.
This is why melanin costs $563.
Yeah, it's more than gold, platinum.
A gram?
Yeah.
And it's more than gold, platinum, and diamonds?
Yeah,
Combined? So melanin is the most precious resource, and they taking that from eating the pineal glands and getting high from the adrenochrome. I'm gonna do a lecture on that real soon.
That's
it's part of the blood types.
Look how you inspire me.
Okay, it's part of the blood type. So we're going to do that soon too.
Yeah, the book Black Moon by Peter Moon, Black Sun.
Yeah, Black
by
Sun.
Peter Moon.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good book. Yeah, he talks about how Washita took their land back in 2004. Sure did.
Well, that was in his other book, Peter Moon's other book.
King Juba, The Lost Treasures of King Juba.
Well, that's in that book too, but that's Frank Joseph.
Okay.
Frank Joseph, former Nazi, ends up becoming the editor for the Ancient American magazine, in which that proves that the so-called black-skinned people was already here before Columbus. Now, isn't that something? That an ex-Nazi verifies the fact that we was already here, so you can't have that as more proof than that from an ex-Nazi.
And that's why they doing a Nazi thing, because when they mix with you, they no longer Caucasian.
Right.
So that's the science. But yet they talk about tall, dark, and handsome, so that's the oxymoron.
All right. So we're going to get ready to go, y'all. It's 11. We done had y'all on here long enough. And as we say, continuing now for days, weeks, and months, and years to come. We're moving towards our most cherished goals of health, wealth, knowledge of ourselves,
enlightenment, happiness,
protection,
and full
security,
contentment.
and full contentment. Every action, enterprise, and endeavor in which that we wish to be involved is bringing increasing rewards. We have so much happiness, joy, success, and abundance in our life that we're able to help and share with those who are sincere along the way. We're moving closer to a oneness of God and guidance and the full release of our higher and higher selves. Ashe. We out, y'all. We love y'all. Peace.
Peace.